I'm going to start off my digital essay presentation with my introduction paragraph. Introduction. Characters in the novels Scrawl by Mark Schulman, The Cage by Ruth Minsky Slender, and The Diary of Anne Frank play by Frances Goodrich and Albert Hackett are greatly and deeply impacted by the time and place in which they live. Hook. Think about how it would impact your life if you lived in a different time, place, or situation. The essential question that I'm answering for my digital essay is, how are people affected by the time and place in which they live? Thesis. The characters in the Diary of Anne Frank play, Scrawl, and The Cage are all affected in negative ways by the time and place in which they live. The first piece of writing that I'm going to talk about is the Diary of Anne Frank play. Several characters in the Diary of Anne Frank play by Frances Goodrich and Albert Hackett are affected by the time and place in which they live throughout the play. Topic sentence. Two characters in the Diary of Anne Frank play in particular that are affected by the time and place in which they live are Anne Frank and Peter Van Damme. The first quote that I'm going to introduce is a quote that Anne said to Peter. The quote is, "Look, Peter, the sky. What a lovely, lovely day. Aren't the clouds beautiful? You know what I do when it seems as if I couldn't stand being cooped up here for one more minute? I think myself out. I think myself on a walk in the park where I'm used to go on a walk in the park with Pim, where the croquets and the violets grow down the slopes. You know the most wonderful part about thinking yourself out? You can have it any way you like." This quote from Anne shows that Anne is hopeful, optimistic, and sees the light in every single situation, no matter how dark. This answers the essential question, because when everyone else, especially Peter, was being negative throughout their time in the annex, Anne was always positive and kept a smile on her face through the darkest times and saw good in people no matter what the circumstance was. She wanted everyone else to be happy too. This quote shows that Peter is sick and tired of hiding, just wants to get out no matter what happens. This answers the essential question because it shows how after 2 years confined in the annex can impact Peter. This affects him by being trapped in fear for so long and just wanting to be in hope. The Diary of Anne Frank play is about the problems and difficulties that Anne Frank, her family, and the Van Dammes, another family that is hiding with them, face while they were living in an annex for over 2 years due to the Jewish people's oppression by the Nazis at the time. The next book that I will talk about is Scrawl. In the novel Scrawl by Mark Schulman, Todd is greatly impacted by the time and place in which he lives throughout the novel. Topic sentence. Todd has been bullied growing up, and all that he has been through has greatly impacted his life in a negative way. One quote that Todd mentioned in the novel is, "With lifetime penmanship, detention, I don't have to come home and give my mom's new husband new reasons why I still haven't got an after-school job yet." This quote from Scrawl by Mark Schulman shows that Todd would rather stay at school than at home due to his family situation. This answers the essential question because it infers to the reader that his life at home negatively impacts him due to the fact that he has family issues, and this is the reason why he'd rather stay at school. Another quote in the novel Scrawl is when Todd says, "He was still circling under my window. My room is on the first floor. mainly because my entire house is on the first floor. Kids at my school have bigger garages than our whole house. When you look at this quote, it's more of a deeper sense. You can tell that Todd is more poor than the other kids at school, which makes him feel less than everyone else. You can tell he feels this way by comparing the size of his house to others. This answers the essential question because it shows how Todd is negatively impacted due to the place which he lives. Scrawl by Mark Schulman is about the main character of the book, Todd Munn, getting detention for a month. Part of Todd's punishment is that he has to go write a journal throughout his experiences in school. Throughout the story, Todd realizes that he has to change his ways for the better. Topic sentence. Being in a concentration camp has been very rough for Reva and her family. She has tried to keep strong, but being put in a situation like that is very hard to be positive. She ends up getting tuberculosis, and it became even more of a big struggle to take care of her brothers and to survive and overcome her obstacles. This quote shows how exhausted and scared everyone is because of the fact that they're living in a state of fear due to the fact that they can die at any time. This answers the essential question because it shows how not just Reva but every Jewish person in the concentration camp are impacted due to the place and time in which they live. What Reva means by this is that although they do have some happy, positive times, and laughing all together makes them feel happy, what they really need is help with getting better because they are experiencing a life or death situation with her sickness, and it isn't easy for her to get up and to get the help she needs to get better. The novel The Cage is about a 13-year-old girl named Reva who lives in the floor below the same roof as her landlord with her 3 brothers and her mother. Her family feels betrayed by their landlord because they have noticed that she continuously stealing a lot of their valuables. Reva and her family are going through some struggles within the town known as Lodz in Poland that they live in, and throughout the story you see everything they've been through. Conclusion. Whether it is the way that Todd has changed and adapt to his environment, or the struggles of being in an annex over 2 years, or Reva being put into concentration camp, and having to be a mother figure and having to support her younger siblings after the death of her mother, all of these characters were greatly impacted by the time and place in which they live.